Hey everyone, it's Jax again from the Popcorn Review Podcast. Today's gonna be my episode 28. It's gonna be Raw for 526, the recap or the aftermath, I should say, after Saturday night's main event. They did show a recap, honestly, to start off the day, showing the addition of Bronson Reed to Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker's group. They don't have a name for this group just yet. At least I haven't heard of it. But I will say, I personally feel like they should have held off Bronson Reed for maybe like a pay per view or something to that effect. But they decided to pull the trigger now. So Bronson Reed has joined that group. And pretty much after the recap, those four individuals actually come to the ring. You have Paul Heyman kind of like boasting about these guys, kind of like praising them, saying that you have the man here, Braun Breaker. He's going to be main eventing WrestleManias for years to come. And he started saying like 45, 46, 47, for just naming different type of WrestleMania, saying that he will be the future of WWE. He turns to his other side and said, and we have Bronson Reed here, that the reason why he's here because he earned the respect of Seth freaking Rollins. The reason why he's standing next to them is because he is a monster. He put a beating on Seth Rollins that no other man could, so he earned Seth Rollins' respect. So now he has two monsters by his side, Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. Again, I feel like they should have kept Bronson Reed to the future or later on, but they do have those guys there now. Again, this is pretty much just Paul Heyman just boasting everybody's ego. He even went to Seth Rollins saying that, Seth Rollins is the revolutionary. He is the visionary. Just pretty much just started saying all these different things. But again, even then Seth Rollins kind of called out the fans. They started booing him. And he was like, just a few minutes ago, you guys were singing my song. So I don't want to hear that shit. Again, they are heels, but everybody likes them. You had people barking in the crowd. You had people singing his song. Bronson Reed, as of right now, is kind of the odd man out because he's so new to the group. But I'm pretty sure, as dominant as he is, he's still going to be able to perform and do big things for that group. Don't know what they have in store for this team, to be honest with you, but we'll see how it plays out, guys. Um, you did have a few qualifying matches though. You had Penta versus Dragon Lee versus Chad Gable. And then the announcers were kind of saying that how is Chad going to wrestle twice in one day if he has to be a Grande Americano with his mask fighting at Worlds Collide and then that same night fighting for Money in the Bank? So they're kind of putting it out there like, of course they know. Um, but in all, guys, a good match between the three. Love Penta. They're definitely pushing Penta a lot. This match had everybody look strong during the match. They had a few botches, honestly. Um, Chad kind of fell face first during the match during one of the moves. But again, they all look strong. Um, Chad actually starts talking shit to Vikingo, I think it is, that he's actually wrestling him at Worlds Collide. And he kind of at first just talks shit. And Vikingo goes like, man, go ahead, handle your business. Like, do what you got to do. Stop worrying about me. Worry about the match. So long story short, they get into it again. He comes back out. Chad comes back out the ring, actually goes after Vikingo, kind of swings on him, knocks him out, knocks him down, whatever the case was. Chad actually starts getting the better of the two guys, Dragon Lee and Penta. Um, After a while though, Vikingo kind of like gets his whereabouts or wakes up, whatever the case was, actually goes in and attacks Chad Gable, but because it's a three-way, there is no disqualification. So he takes Chad Gable out, kind of kicks him on the side of the head. Chad actually falls. Penta comes in, does his finisher there. Boom, 1, 2, 3. You see Chad Gable kind of bloodied up. Not sure if he hit his head on the ring post or on the turnbuckle, the metal parts of the buckle, whatever the case is. But he had a pretty nice gash here. So those two guys are going to definitely be feuding at Worlds Collide. So we'll see how that plays out. But happy Penta got in there. It's going to be an exciting match to have Penta and the Money in the Bank. I don't see Penta winning a shot, honestly. I think this is building up for Seth Rollins to have that Money in the Bank, um, to have that briefcase and cash it in on somebody. But I will say having Penta in that match is going to be super exciting. Cannot wait to see it. Um, you had a few segments here today. One of them was with the Judgment Day in the back. You have Carlito and Dom kind of playing the game there. And then you had Finn and JD to the side. And then Roxanne Perez comes in and pretty much gives, it's not a clothing box this time, but she had a tray of fucking nuggets or nuggies. And Dom goes in there about to grab some. And Carlito kind of looks at her like, bro, chill. And then she goes, "Oh, your shoulder looks out of place." So she goes and try to gives him a massage or whatever. And just as she does that, Liv kind of walks in like, "Konnichiwa, bitches," and then boom, everybody like, "Oh shit!" So Liv is back, and Liv's kind of like, "What the hell?" And Roxanne kind of tries to introduce herself, and she's like, nah, 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 nah." So she's upset that this girl is talking to her man. She's like, "Yeah, Raquel told me everything. I know everything that's going on in the clubhouse." And then you see JD and Finn to the corner kind of laughing about it. Like I mentioned, them two are going to break off and take Roxana Perez with them and possibly have their own version of the Judgment Day. Like back in the day with NWO and then NWO Wolfpack, I could definitely see that happen. Finn's already flying different colors. He's wearing black and yellow or black and blue, depending on if you look at his entrance. So again, Finn is just laughing his whole fucking time. Finn is definitely making his move to try to take that Intercontinental title. Um, and it looks like JD's kind of with him. At first, I thought JD wasn't. In the past, I said, JD was kind of, come on, man, we celebrating. But it looks like JD's kind of following suit with Finn Balor there. So I see the three of them going against the three or the four of them. Carlito's probably going to pick sides eventually, or they're going to just cast Carlito out. He really doesn't do anything in that group. You did have after that, you had Liv saying, "I'm gonna go talk to Pierce to have a match tonight to get a qualifying match." On the way there, she actually with Raquel, and they interrupt Kyrie Zane and Io Sky, and they go into it, start talking shit to each other, and pretty much Io Sky, sorry, Kyrie Zane versus Liv Morgan tonight later on. Um, you did have, Rusev versus Tozawa. That was pretty much just a beat down of Tozawa. No one expected Tozawa to do anything. I think it was pretty much speed versus strength, if anything, like David versus Goliath type of deal. You did have Tozawa come off fast and strong at first, but the strength got to him. Rusev pretty much destroyed him, put him in that submission, bent over backwards. Tozawa taps out. He actually kept going after Tozawa, and then Sheamus music hits. He comes to the ring, kind of stares him face to face, and Rusev doesn't do shit. Just looks at him, walks out, doesn't do nothing. But Sheamus was smart. He didn't turn his back to him. He waited till Rusev walked away, then turned his back to help Tozawa. So looks like they're gonna have a feud. Um, it looks like they're gonna have Rusev win. Personally, they're pushing Rusev a lot. So it looks like Sheamus at this time is just coming back to give a W to Rusev, but it's gonna be a hell of a match. Like Sheamus likes to say, he's gonna have a banger of a match. So we'll see how that plays out. You did have a segment with Sami Zayn and Jey Uso. Sami kind of looks like not nervous or scared, and pretty much Jay was like, "Yo, man, I got your back. Just like you had my back, I got your back. Anything that happens tonight, I got you." And the reason why he said that was because there's a match later. Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, and Sami Zayn for the Money in the Bank qualifier match. So it's pretty much telling Sami, "I got your back regardless. Don't worry, bro. I got you." Um, you did have Jay come to the ring, yeeting with the crowd again. Again, I like that he grabs kids and kind of dances with them in the crowd, makes those kids feel love. Again, from a person who sit higher up or somewhere in the middle, definitely nice to see a wrestler come through, shake hands with you, take a quick picture of them, snap them walking by, or whatever the case is. But definitely nice to see that happening. So Jey Uso, again, I appreciate you. I know the kids do. That one girl at the end, right before you came down, was actually shocked that you picked her. So again, you are definitely making kids, I would say, kids night. So again, I'm happy for you. Keep it going. Jay did come to the ring pretty much after that though, and pretty much said that, he yeeted all over Logan Paul, and he's about to yeet all over Gunther. And just as he said, Gunther's music hits. He comes back out, and Gunther and Jey Uso are face to face. And for a little while, Gunther was actually giving him his praise, y'all. He goes, "Hey man, I want to congratulate you. 50 years of the Usos in the industry." So pretty much talking about his collectively of a family. Hey, the Usos been here for 50 years, so congratulations. And then he goes and beats an asshole. Like pretty much, congratulations. I'm actually surprised you've had the title this long. Like I thought you were gonna lose it a couple weeks ago or a month ago. So already talking down to him. Um, and Jay's pretty much like, "Yo, I'm not looking through you or past you." He goes, "I know who you are." He goes, "I've been with you already." He goes, "But I'm gonna take you and we gonna rock in Phoenix. Pretty much, we gonna take this to Phoenix, and I'm gonna walk out the same way I walked in with my title." So great segment to see those two. Yeah, Jay has to wrestle Gunther, but it's kind of like different side of a coin, if anything. Before Gunther was a champion, now Jay's a champion. I do believe that Jay's going to retain. I think this is a build up for Seth to, win Money in the Bank and then cash in on Jay, whether it's right after that match or in the future. Because if I'm not mistaken, Money in the Bank happens that Sunday. And then that following Monday, whoever wins, boom, that's when Jay and Gunther are going to wrestle. So I definitely see that happening. Um, I hope they hold off on cashing in the title. Maybe Jay just, or maybe Seth just like screws around with Jay, like, hey, I got your number. This is coming. I got your number. This is coming. Just know that I got my briefcase and this is happening. But again, Jay says that I'll see you in Phoenix. So can't wait for that match. Um, I do see Seth winning. I just don't know when Seth is going to win. This is definitely building for WrestleMania. I see Seth cashing in on Jay, whether he has help or just comes in and kind of screws Jay after Jay has like a banger of a match or a great match. And then WrestleMania next year, Seth Rollins versus CM Punk for the WWE World Championship. I know a lot of people probably said this, and if not, maybe I'm the first one to bring it up, but I definitely see that being the case. Seth Rollins wins, screws around with Jay for a couple weeks, maybe a couple months, cashes in, becomes a world champion, and then you have Seth Rollins versus CM Punk at WrestleMania next year. Remember, Paul Heyman said that we're looking to the future of WrestleMania, that this guy, Seth Rollins, will be in the main event of WrestleMania. And who will be along with him? I believe it's CM Punk. Not a great CM Punk fan, to be honest with you, but I definitely see that being the case. CM Punk will main event WrestleMania again, being the underdog. It's going to be technically like 4-on-1, but we'll see how it plays out, guys. You did have a New Day match, had their tag team titles on the line versus the War Raiders and the American Made. For a while, you saw the American Made actually were doing their thing. They actually teamed up with the New Day. So American Made and the New Day versus the War Raiders. So technically it was 4-on-2 for a while. Um, Long story short, they kind of suckered American Made into believing that they were there with them, rolled up Julius Creed with the tights, and then beat them 1, 2, 3. That boom, they run off. So okay of a match. Not feeling the New Day's gimmick again. But Julius Creed, guys, that guy can fucking wrestle. Um, if they don't win tag team championships soon, whether it's on Raw or SmackDown, I definitely see Julius possibly breaking off from that tag team and maybe going for a mid card. Even if he loses for a while, kind of like what happened with Jay or even Austin Theory, lost for a while, then won the US title or Intercontinental title with Jay. So I definitely see that being the case. That dude could wrestle. He's kind of quiet. I think Chad Gable kind of talks for that group. But if that guy has an opportunity, he's a great wrestler. And I see Julius Creed breaking off from that team, maybe getting sick and tired of Chad Gable's BS and goes on his own. You did have again Liv Morgan and Kyrie Zane kind of have their beef match or whatever you want to call it, rubber match, whatever, just about what happened in the segment before. And it was a decent match. Kyrie Zane, the last two matches I've seen her in, she kind of like, you know, botches a few matches. I know a lot of people are saying that she's been hurting people in the past. Don't know if that's true. I personally don't see that. I would say out of the girls that came from overseas, Io Sky and Asuka have been the most excited wrestlers to see. Kyrie Sane had a lot of praise behind her, but I think Io and the other one are definitely better off. But they did push her. They did have a decent match. You did have Roxana Perez come out, kind of pushed off Kyrie Sane off the top rope, kind of cost her or pushed her off so she couldn't finish her move, the insane elbow. Um, Raquel, for whatever reason, comes around the ring and kind of confronts, like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm trying to help you. Say, who are you trying to help, yourself or us? He said, no, I'm trying to help you. Liv got distracted. Liv gets rolled up. Boom, 1, 2, 3. Liv loses. Liv is pissed. Raquel's like, oh, it's her fault. It's her fault. Then they go to the back in the clubhouse and Roxanne is like standing there, like, I was just trying to help. And Liv goes, I know you was, or at least that's what it looked like. And she goes, but Raquel, you the veteran here. What are you doing? Kind of pushes the blame on Raquel. So I actually thought that Liv was gonna try to like push this girl out, Roxanne Perez out. That's not the case. She kind of falling for the shit too, at least what it looks like. And then again, you see Finn and Roxanne just like laughing about it. So they're definitely working on some shit. I definitely see, Finn, Roxanne, and JD breaking off, doing their own thing, and possibly costing the other ones their titles. So we'll see how that plays out. Um, you did have a small segment or a vignette, whatever you guys want to call it, with Rhea Ripley pretty much saying that she's in the Money in the Bank championship match or Money in the Bank match. And she was talking about her mommy persona. Like, I used to say that mommy's always on top, but mommy hasn't been on top in a while. So just let you know that mommy's coming and you're going to see mommy in the bank. So similar to El Senor Money in the Bank that Damian Priest did, she's kind of copying it, but making her own thing, saying mommy in the bank. So don't know if they're going to push her. I know they do have Roxana and they do have Julia there, the new girls. Um, but we'll see. As of right now, I do see Rhea being one of the favorites to win that. Don't know who she'll go after, honestly. I mean, possibly will go after Io Sky because she's the one who took the title from her. But she did say that Tiffany and Io, both of you guys aren't safe. So if she wins, she's gonna go after one of them, and both of them aren't safe. So it'd be nice to see her go after Tiffany. I would feel like she dominate Tiffany. They do say that she has an issue or issues trying to beat Io Sky. So maybe this would be finally her getting back at her. But can't wait to see mommy in the bank, if anything. You did have Lyra come and pretty much talking about her match at Money in the Bank versus Becky Lynch, that Becky Lynch made this personal. Becky, I beat you. The reason why people are talking about me now is because I beat you. And if I had to do it again, I'm going to bash your brains in. Becky Lynch does come out, kind of interrupts her, and pretty much says, "Oh, you think you only won the match?" She goes, "But I won the night because I went home to my handsome or beautiful husband, or whatever the hell she said." And she was like, "The only thing that's you talented about you is your talented husband. Like, what are you talking about?" And then Becky kind of gets pissed off, like, "There you go again, making it personal." She was like, "You made this shit personal when you hooked off on me. Like when you beat down me, you made it personal. I'm just paying you back pretty much." So they're just building up on that match. Becky's pretty much like, "Oh, you cost me my Money in the Bank match." She was like, "Yeah, because you cost me my tag team titles. It was your fault, pretty much." Going back and forth at each other. I kind of see, like I did mention before, that Bailey's going to play a part here. I think that Becky's going to win. She's going to beat Lyra, and then Bailey's going to come to help her. That's my personal opinion. I still feel like Bailey's going to be a big part. I feel like Bailey's going to help Lyra, but it could be Bailey comes back and kind of teams up with Becky, but we'll see. Haven't heard nothing from Bailey for the last couple weeks because she is out of action because of what Becky did. So we'll see how it plays out, guys. But we're going to have another match with Lyra and Becky Lynch at Money in the Bank. So the last qualifier for the night, you had Seth Rollins versus Sami Zayn versus Finn Balor. And honestly, guys, this match was really good. Um, we all knew that Seth was going to win personally. So I'm going to jump to the end. Seth Rollins did win, but it was actually a decent match. Sammy looked strong. Seth looked strong. And Finn Balor. I wish Finn Balor would get a push, honestly. Maybe show his dominance of taking over the Judgment Day, but they're doing his own story. I think Finn's going to go after Intercontinental again. Um, But in all good match, they all had their different spots. They were all hitting their finishers. They were all hitting the coup de grace, Halula kick, stomp, pedigree. Everybody was doing their thing. And just before Sammy wins, though, close ass three, boom, gets pulled out by Braun Breaker, costs him the match. Braun Breaker actually starts beating down on Sammy. You see Bronson Reed also starts beating down on Sammy. Then the crowd just starts getting all crazy, and boom, main event Jey Uso comes in, takes him out, super kick both of them. All you keep hearing his fans was like yeet, yeet, yeet every time he hit a super kick. But the numbers game got to them again. They end up taking out Jey. I think it was like a couple spears, if I'm not mistaken, or a slam. But they definitely took Jey out. Um, Seth Rollins wins. We all knew Seth Rollins was going to win personally. I would have been surprised if it was anybody else. Um, Seth wins, but he doesn't get a chance to celebrate. CM Punk's music hits. Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker kind of run down the aisle, try to cut him off. But he did what Jay did. He came through the crowd, takes out Seth Rollins, runs out. Seth Rollins is just laying there. You see Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed like, come on, come back to the ring, come back to the ring. And then CM Punk's in the crowd like, yeah, I took care of you, and I'm gonna keep doing it again. So again, this is why I said it's gonna be a build up for them two at WrestleMania for the world title. I see that's how it's gonna play. I would say Jay's gonna hold a title between WrestleMania and possibly like 3 to 6 months down the line. Hopefully, they don't cash in too early, but we do know Seth's going to cash the title in. Seth is not trying to worry about, John Cena or whatever the case is, but I do believe it's going to be Seth freaking Rollins versus CM Punk for WrestleMania, the upcoming WrestleMania for next year. But even though Seth won again, Seth didn't stand tall. You had Seth laying down and his guys kind of in the corner trying to call Punk in. It was an okay main event. We knew it was going to be a lot of run-ins because of the new team that Seth Rollins has. Yes, they cost Sami Zayn the match. And before that match, actually, you had Sami Zayn talking with Killer Cross. Or Karrion Kross. Sorry, Karrion Kross. And he pretty much is like, hey, man, you're never going to win the title. You should have just listened to Paul Heyman and went to SmackDown and automatically had a match against Cena. He goes, now you're here clawing your way to the top. He goes, it's not going to happen. And then Sammy said it too. He was like, yo, stop trying to get into my head. And again, he's got the shirt with the puppet master. This is why I say Sammy's going to turn on Jay. They're going to have a match together somewhere down the line. Sammy's going to get sick and tired of protecting Jay or sick and tired of coming short, not winning the title. And he's going to go after Jay and turn on Jay. Again, that's my opinion, guys. Again, recap after Saturday Night Main Events Raw. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you guys have some good intentions or good feedback. Let me know in the comments. Have a great one.